Good afternoon, guys. Today we're going to be learning about data types. We are going to be expanding your vocabulary and give you tools that you can use to basically make a program. Let's get after it. To get started, I have here a program. I have include IOStream using namespace std, int main, send.get, and return 0. In my previous tutorials, I've explained why you have to have these and what do they do. The next thing we're going to look at is different types of data types. So how the flow of it will go is first you say what data type you're going to use, and then the word after that will be the variable. This is going to say, you know, what is exactly are we naming that has this data type. So let's say if we had int age semicolon. Int is the data type, age is the variable, and semicolon basically is required. You just have to do a semicolon after that. In memory, which gets a little confusing, but I'll just explain a little bit of it. Int reserves in memory in the computer space for this variable. Now it doesn't have to be age. It could be instead of age, it could be year, a number that doesn't have a decimal point. For this example, we're going to say age. So best practice is to declare your variables before you get into your program. So we declared int age here. Now when we get into our program, we can say something like age equals 26 semicolon. Now at this point, whenever the program starts, it recognizes that age, this number is going to equal 26. Now I want to display a message here, and I want you to try to guess what it's going to say. So if I put cout age semicolon, what is it going to display? Is it going to display age because it's is it a string? Let's try it out. Let's go to local Windows debugger and see what pops up. It doesn't say age, it actually says 26. That's because age is not a string. Age is an int data type. Now, if I put quotations around here, that changes what this is from referencing age to a string, because a string will have quotations around it. See, now it says age. The difference there is the quotations. Once you take away the quotations, the computer recognizes it not as a string, but it tries to look for something that's called age, which we've said that int. Age is an int, and down here we said that age equals 26. You can actually take this age equals 26, and you can erase it. And at the top, whenever you're first declaring int age, you can say that int age equals 26, and it'll accomplish the same thing. So you can separate them or declare them together, where you're saying that you're going to have a variable named age, and it's going to be an integer, and it's going to equal 26. So I just wanted to make sure I showed you that. The next data type that we're going to be looking at is going to be called double. Now what double is it's a data type that allows you to work with numbers that have a decimal point. So we're going to say data price equals $19.99 semicolon, and basically what that'll do is it'll reserve more memory and space to handle numbers that have a pretty far decimal point, number behind the decimal point. Double does take up more memory than an int, and there's another data type called float. And what float does is it does the same thing, where it handles numbers beyond the decimal point, but double will go farther. Used to, people would use float to try to reserve memory, but since memory is so plentiful nowadays, I just recommend using doubles. So here I said double price equals $19.99. Down here we can replace age with price. And whenever we have it display the information, so we go to our local Windows debugger, it'll display $19.99. Okay, so we've looked at double and we've looked at int and float. Now we're going to look at another data type called char. What is char? Char is a single character data type. So if we say like char yes equals single quotation y, single quotation semicolon, and underneath it we also write char no equals single quotation and single quotation semicolon. Basically, we're saying that the variable yes and the variable no, one represents y and one represents n. So the next thing is, how are we going to display it? So if we say cout yes semicolon, underneath to say cout no semicolon, what do you think will happen whenever we display these things? Will it say y and then n, or will it say yes and no? Let's give it a try. Local Windows debugger. It put them together. It said y n. Why did it do that? It did that because nothing is telling the computer here to go down a space. So the next thing I want to show you is how to do that. There's a few ways to. We're going to be looking at this operator right here, the less than, basically told the computer to display yes. Now we can also add another operator into it and do ENDL. So add this word to the vocabulary. ENDL basically will tell the computer to insert new line. So it'll how it'll compile is it'll say yes and then recognize new line and then say no. So when we say local Windows debugger, it'll come up y and then n because we told it to end line. The next thing we're going to look at is an array. Now, usually you don't learn about arrays until later, but I feel like now's the time to talk about an array. So let's create a double data type and call it prices. So we're going to say double prices. This may look familiar because hopefully you have it in your vocabulary, because I said that double is a data type that works with numbers that go beyond the decimal point. We have double prices equals 1999. Now let's say if we wanted to have multiple prices with just that one variable prices, what we could do is behind prices we can put a square bracket for bracket. Now 4 isn't any particular number. This is just saying that there's going to be 4 prices. Now one thing that is important whenever learning prices is that I'm saying that there's going to be 4 prices, but the count is only going to go up to 3 because it actually counts 0 as one price. What I mean by that is, let's say if I say prices square bracket 0 equals 19.99 semicolon, prices 1 equals 29.99, prices 2 equals 39.99, and prices 3 equals 49.99. So up here I said we're going to have 4 prices. Now it's going to start the count at 0, so it's going to say 0, 1, 2, 3, and these are going to be our 4 prices. Now you can make, this doesn't have to be 4, this is just an example. You can make it like 10, or you can make it 2. You can definitely edit this. Now I basically separated it to where it says 4 prices, and I wrote down the price of each one. There is this nifty little trick where you can actually erase this, and you can say prices square brackets 4 equals. Now this is the trick. You have to use a curly brace, and then separated by a comma, you can say what the price of each price is. So this is the equivalent of what I had typed up before. Just make sure you end it with a curly brace. And what this will do is this will say the first price is $19.99, price 2, price 3, price 4. So if we say cout price square bracket 1, what is going to be the price that that displays here? Is it going to be $19.99 because it's the first price, or for some strange reason is it going to be $29.99? But this is the second price. Let's run it and see what happens. So we're going to go to local Windows debugger, and it comes up $29.99. That's the second price. Now, I put 1 here, but why is it showing up the second price? That's because, remember before, it counts 0 as the first price. So 0 is going to be $19.99, and 1 is going to be $29.99. It's kind of tricky with an array, but this is an incredible tool that you're going to use with a lot of your programming. So I just wanted to make sure that I explained it. Okay, so we're going to utilize some of the data types that we learned kind of just as an overview. What I want you to do as a homework assignment is I want you to create an int, a char, and a double. I want you to display it, make the program display it whenever you run the program, and I want you to do something. I want to see if you can figure it out. I haven't taught you guys how to do this yet, but I want you to create a second double, and I want it to be equal to the first double minus the number. So I'll give you a moment to pause the video, or you can just turn it off and try to do the assignment. And okay, so I want to try to. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Granted that hopefully y'all guys had tried to do this on your own. Basically, we're gonna do int. We're gonna say age. We're gonna say 26. Then we're also gonna say char yes equals single quotations y semicolon double price equals $19.99 semicolon, and then our second double. So we're going to say double. And one thing I want to show you guys right now is whenever you're creating variables, there's this way of casing them that makes it a little bit easier to read. This one's called camel casing, to where I say something like new price. And one other thing that that's also a best practice is whenever you're creating a price, even if it doesn't equal anything, you want it to at least make it say that it's 0. That way the computer just doesn't assume that it's 0, because if you don't do this, sometimes you'll get some garbage results. So now let's see out age inline, see out yes inline, see out price inline. Now the next thing I told you to do was to take the second double, which we called new price. Notice it has the capital P in the middle of it, and that's basically called camel casing. Makes everything a little bit more legible, easier to read. And I said to take the second double and make it equal the first double, which we called price, minus the number, and we're going to make that number 10. What this is going to do is that it's going to say that the new price equals price, which we have set as $19.99, and it's going to minus $10. So when we say that new price equals $19.99 minus 10, can you guess what that's going to be? That's going to be $9.99. So we say see out new price semicolon. Now let's run it. Let's see how all this works. Local Windows debugger, and sure enough, here we are. We said that age is 26, so when we say display age, it displays 26. When we say display the variable yes, and the variable yes is a char, and a char can only be a single character, which is y, it displays y. Then we also said see out price, and we have price that is a double type as $19.99. Now this is where it gets a little tricky, because we said new price equals price minus 10. This is another way of saying new price equals $19.99 minus 10. And that's why when we say display new price, it came up as $9.99. Pretty cool. We covered a lot of information today. As a recap, we talked about how to take a variable and assign it a data type and give that variable a value. So we learned that when a variable has an int data type, the value of it has to be a whole number. We learned that with a variable that has a char data type, we'll have a value of a single character. We learned that with float and double data types, we'll assign a variable basically a number that can be used with decimal numbers with numbers beyond the decimal point. We talked about how to make an array, how to input information into an array. Take a break, utilize what you've learned so far, practice making different type of variables of different type of data types. We briefly went over how to take a variable and make it a result of another variable in an equation. So we said that new price is price minus 10, which is pretty cool. You're going to be using that a lot. The next thing we're going to look over is loops. So like I said, take a break, absorb what you've learned so far, and practice it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.